we're saying that when would we fit a place?
So then you need to get the lawn outline, and this is starting at the very
Okay.
we can do it at risk if something's wrong.
Okay, so
But that has to be done before.
Hello everyone, today we will talk about the transit of Saturn. Transiting Saturn is in opposition to natal Pluto. How transiting Saturn will behave in opposition to natal Pluto depends on the position of natal Pluto. This transit may be more prominent in your life if you already have planets aspecting your natal Pluto. But the basics are as follows. This is a time of limited resources. Hard work and persistent efforts are enlightened, and relationships with oneself and others go from extreme to extreme. This extremely difficult period in your life represents the results of your efforts that began about 14 years ago and is the peak of the effectiveness of the presentation, the moment when you realize that you have failed in your efforts. To begin with, the transit refers to mental crises that are only normal from a legal point of view because Saturn is predictable when it comes to its manifestations. This planet is challenged when important changes need to be made in any system, changes sent by Pluto. But at the same time there is a sharp awareness of what you have and what you lack. Sometimes this is a significant period because it will force you to focus only on what is necessary to the exclusion of everything else. You will have the endurance for all that effort and pressure, to work for a long time. However, you will generally feel that doors in your life are closing rather than opening. The reason for this is that you are completely convinced that you are right about something, while someone else is completely wrong. Therefore, important changes are needed, but you cannot make them. You easily feel the consequences of the decisions and changes you have made up to that point. They manifest in a similar way to the feeling of driving down a road that has only clear goals, while anticipation forces everyone onto other roads as direction and circumstances change. Another thing, the changes created by these two planets are very likely to put restrictions on resources and the way people can move freely. Therefore, if you like to surround yourself with many things, you may find that they lose their appeal or that some of them are completely removed. In general, this is a time of endings, so a chapter of your life can and should be closed now, especially if it is delayed. The area in which you feel restricted depends on other specific astrological data in your birth chart. Because of all this, you will not be in a good mood and you will not want to be disturbed. You will try your best to make something work and you will not think of any other outcome than success for the cost of your effort, including how it affects your body or relationships. This will lead to strong opposition from others, and you will have to deal with an additional burden or responsibility, a responsibility that cannot be abandoned. Those who cling to despair will end up failing, because although it is difficult to see things clearly during this time, the losses of experiences will eventually bring about personal growth and people's ability to take care of themselves. That is why this time is also known for the responsibilities it brings, requiring people to work hard and not give up. But with smart decisions, you can achieve a lot at this time because you will see things through, although this is often difficult due to your resistance to change. But usually life is easier when you realize that after something ends, there is room for something new. This new thing will help you to keep in mind the bigger picture of your life, and other people will not consider you stubborn and difficult. Although the structures are set up in such a way that progress is almost impossible. The advantage of this transit is that you know the depth of your reservoirs of will and strength. So don't try to stretch too far because you can injure yourself or get sick. And most likely, with this current position, you have also reached great enemies. Although for many it will seem endless as they struggle to keep up with what they have already achieved. This impact is quite rare and happens to most people twice in their lifetime. The impact itself in certain positions can keep constant pressure for a month and the consequences to last almost a year, putting people under pressure and testing them from a physical point of view and through their internal resources, limiting what is important to them. Demanding more than they already give. However, in the end, when you look at it, this new thing that usually comes is not even necessary, even if it seems otherwise. It will be difficult for you to rest, to take a break, you will simply feel that you have to work and push to the end. But do not take on any responsibility or additional activity at this time, because your interest has concentrated all your energy on the work at your disposal. Remember that there is a time and a place for everything. Now is the time to conserve energy and carefully consider past behaviors and future desires. Consider carefully the new means and goals. It's good to know your worth, but make sure everything you do is worth what you do. Put your cards on the table. Do not resist changes and cleaning up the waste that does not allow you to develop and grow. It is a very important period of karmic conflicts, but also victories. Over time, many are able to admit that what happened to them only benefited them, regardless of who they worked with. This is about breaking some ties, because that alone is necessary for future development to take place. Some circumstances can offer insight into how people use their power and how abusive they are when control issues arise and manipulative measures are introduced. Either way, the events will offer you insight into the use and abuse of power when issues of control and manipulation form the basis of any agreement or disagreement. However, if you tend to push things, you are likely to be met with defiance. In the end, although you may have to lose to win, it is likely that you can come out of this in a stronger position than before. The meaning is now more recognizable, if only because meaningless pursuits are no longer appropriate.